Yo, what's up? Welcome to Squeaky Clean Garage. Today we're going to be working on the 65 Nova, and we're going to try and install a auto speed meter. It is a straight link, so it actually has the cable link, and it goes directly behind it. So we're going to have to put it through the firewall and connect it to the transmission. It's running a turbo 350. So when I bought this car, it didn't have a speedometer. It only has an RPM gauge. It was mostly tracked, but I'm starting my videos late on this car. We've already put in a rear frame and redone the trunk and retubbed it. Kind of made it a pro street. It's got a 383 in it. I bought the car pretty much for the engine. It sounded really strong. It ran strong, but the frame they butchered. They tried to put in Posi Link in the back, and when they did that, they cut into the frame and really made the frame weak. So every time I would get on it, the whole rear of the car would just, get away from me. You really couldn't do much. I mean, a lot of times you'd be turning and you want to do a 360 just because it would just want to spin you around and let go. I'm going to be changing it to fuel injection in later videos. Like I was Sniper EFI. I'm also going to put NOS on it. We're going to paint the entire car. We're going to try and do a racing stripe on it. We're going to do Nardo Gray, which is an Audi color, and then do a dark blue stripe with maybe one black accent ring. That makes it easier to paint. It's got a good bones in it right now, so now everything we're doing is kind of cosmetic and just for, quality of life stuff. So here's the spot in the video where I missed my transition and I don't have any additional video to add, but we're going to go ahead and start the process of getting the car lifted and installing the Speedo. So here we go. Starts right up. I don't know if you can see that, but I also have a leak coming from somewhere. See right there, to the left of the front of the car. I'm gonna have to figure out where that's coming from. I think it might be coming from the transmission Speedo. which is why one of the reasons we're changing it. But I also saw some oil coming from front seal by the balancer, but I'm not 100% sure. I have a special oil pan on there because the way this front suspension goes on these trucks, on these cars, the main linkage goes through and they make like a valley for it. So I had it cut up and spread out wide so I could get better clearance, because the roads in California are so awful. I didn't want to lose my oil pan, so. This is Dylan, our resident desert Salcutta. He's actually African spur tortoise, not a desert tortoise. He's about 160 pounds, and he just gets to go where he wants to go. Ain't no stopping him. On the frame, pretty good. You can see this is where we tied it in to the existing frame. You can see how beat up it was. We might need to box that in a little bit more. But you can see the frame to the cross member. You can see how bad the transmission's leaking. It's just wet. I don't know where I don't know how I'm gonna figure this shit out. It's a pretty small torque converter. You can see how we had to weld this. We cut it and welded it. See what I'm talking about, the linkage? Goes right through the middle. All right, well, we got it up. It looks pretty secure and steady. It's on the frame, didn't move or bounce. It's locked back in down here on the quick jacks. And this gives us a good, I don't know, 2.5 feet. This is on the second setting. I got one more after this. This is all I really need right now, though, to inspect and see what's going on. Yeah, you can see it dripping through the cross member. Let's take that off. I want the support somehow. Here's the 350 Chevy. It's bored and stroked to a 383. We got the coil blaster 3 for the coil. We got the MSD ignition over here. We got all the fancy ANN lines. We got an oversized radiator, new oil pump down there at the bottom. This engine was rebuilt with all ARP head bolts, which you must do if you're going to rebuild an engine. It's got all the nice chrome pieces on it. So yeah, just a quick look at it. It's pretty clean, looks nice. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of extra wires and stuff. Everything's tucked behind. It does need to be polished and stuff, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So in the car, you can see we just have a tachometer. We have a water gauge, fuel, oil pressure. Fuel didn't work when I got it. Oil pressure didn't work when I got it. We fixed all that. No stereo. We might put one in, but with the AirPods now, I just drive with AirPods. This thing's so freaking loud anyway. B&M shifter, center console. We got Carbose seats with the 4-point harness, roll cage. We deleted the seat and just made it Pro Street. We got just an aluminum, and then the roll bar goes to the trunk where it connects with the suspension towers, actually. So here you can see the batteries right here. This is our Jazz stainless steel tank. It goes pretty deep. This is, I think, 12 gallons, 16 gallons. And you can see it goes to the posi. So here's the shock tower, and that goes to the roll cage. And it's mounted into here. So it's a nice rigid rear end now. But it still does have the ladder bar suspension. So you can see that we have it laddered all the way to the back rear. Gives it that nice low stance. All right, so we're gonna install this autometer, Pro Comp Ultralight. We're gonna do that by taking this piece of metal. We're gonna make a little mount for it because I don't have room in the dash to go straight back and then through the firewall. So it's going to be mounted a little low and at an angle so I can see it. So it'll be mounted like an auxiliary gauge. I really don't look at the miles per hour that much anyway. So this bracket will mount it. So we'll drill a hole, it'll mount through that way, and that way we can fasten it to the mount. And then it'll go straight back through the firewall. This is the low car cable. We're going to have to fit that to the length to the Turbo 350. I bought this, it was like 12 bucks. It's just gonna make everything easier. This should fit right over. finally got the hole. I just drilled a couple relief holes with the drill and then followed up with the body saw. Okay, you can see I got it. I got a little scratching right there, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just polish that out with the flap disc grinder. Just a little bit in the corner right there, but as you can see, it's coming pretty good, nice and tight. Should have no issues. And so like right about here, I need to go ahead and just grind that in a little bit more. And then I'll bend it right there, probably right here on this vise. Here's the finished bracket. Got a light tack coat of black on there right now. It's going to dry for about 15 minutes. And then I'll do a nice wet coat on the second one, just to make it nice and even. I was able to just test the hole a couple times, bring out a grinder, grind it down, test fit it. I had to bend it on the vise, and I was missing a part, so it took me forever. All right, so I got my bracket I'm going to use for the speedometer. I've already removed the plate for my other gauges to be able to access some wires behind there. It's pretty tight already because the cable for the oil pressure is short from the guy who put it in before me, so it's kind of hard to access it back there, but should be okay. So I'm just going to run some self-tappers in here, mount the speedometer, and try and get the wires connected, at least so I have the lights. And then the next step after that will be to actually get the Speedo cable connected to the gear drive right there, and then underneath the car. So go from there. As you can see, we finished installing the speedometer. We did not do the cable. That's going to be in the next video. We're going to go ahead and do a cut to length video for the low car speedometer cable, and that's going to be installed through the firewall. So thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and like and subscribe so we can keep on making these. And remember to keep it clean, squeaky clean.